expensive. And they make further profits, the big pharma, the insurance companies, out of big pharma. So it's a chain of profit-making enterprises. But if you look into the manufacturing costs of medication, it's very cheap.
So Ben, is this getting at what you need? Because it seems like, even though you're saying yes to Paul in various ways, it sounds like you still want to have this fight with people. And it's a little bit reminding me of my wish to be able to have these further dialogues with people in my group, because I want to get to the anger and, work through it. But, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And if I'm throwing out angry things to them, they're not going to want to do any more with me at all. So, I don't know, I feel some kinship to what you're saying, and I can sense the problem in my approach echoing the problem in your approach. It's not about biting the hand that feeds us.
I agree with that, Jane. I think there is a link. And what it is, at least as far as I can see, is that the two of you have a grievance about something.
Mm-hmm.
And the aggrieved quality is coming through in both sets of complaints.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing. It's not really to do with the healthcare system or your group.
And so, Ben, do you know, I know that my grievance goes back to my father. Ben, do you know what your grievance goes back to?
I think my grievance goes back to 1998 and my experience with hypomania, which was sort of a peak experience for me in terms of my productivity, my relationships with others, my feeling of satisfaction, my feeling of integration, and having that all come crashing down in terms of the manic episode, but then also in terms of the response, which was the hospitalization and the drugs. So I agree with Paul. The question is how to feel more real and more alive. And I don't think that the road that we're on leads in that direction. I think the road that we're on leads in the direction of more sedation. And so my grievance has to do with the fact that I'm not being guided into being more real and more alive. I'm being guided into being more sedated.
Ben, what are you talking about? Right? You're sitting here talking to Paul and me. What has that got to do with leading more to sedation? What has that got to do with not being real?
The healthcare system.
All right, you see what you're doing? You're fighting with the healthcare system, and right now you're talking here with Paul and me, to which that doesn't apply. So you're just having a fight. That's why, Paul, I think you used the straw man thing. You're not being in the moment. You're not addressing Paul. Paul's not doing that to you.
Right.
So why is that?
My guess is that I think you've chosen your enemy, Ben, in a slightly confused way. You're wanting to denounce the healthcare system. But I think your grievance is actually against manic depression, bipolar. To have an illness like that, which occurs in human beings long before pharmacology was ever invented. It goes back through evolution. It's a horrible illness. It's a horrible affliction to have to deal with, and literally can make you feel crazy. There isn't a proper cure for it. There still isn't. And there's a lot of inadequate treatment, of which the healthcare system is one. But there's nobody who has a secret cure up their sleeve, who is hiding it in order to make money out of pharmacology or medicine. It doesn't exist, that cure. The best there is a multidisciplinary approach, which deals with pharmacology, biology, and psychology, and life experience. Those are the things to be talked about. But I think if you get caught up with these monstrous, corrupt people, you might be getting sidetracked.
I guess, on the one hand, I defer to you because you've had much more experience and you deal with people who have this problem, and so you've seen more than I have in terms of how it plays out. And, you have a lot of experience. And then there's all the weight of the argument about how it's all about genetics and how, the scientists who would come to the fore and say, look, who would agree with what you just said?
But that's all old-fashioned stuff, Ben. There are very few contemporary, serious scientists who would say that manic depression is entirely genetic. And if they would, they're living in this kind of small bubble.
Yeah.
The most advanced people who really understand their subject argue that genes are not determinants. They don't determine anything. They're tendencies. They can produce a direction which, if the environment reacts adversely to it, can lead to illness, psychosis. So it's a very complex combination of life as it's lived from childhood onwards and biology. And those are the interesting arguments. If you just beat up the drug people, not to use another analogy, I don't know whether you have it in America, you're flogging a dead horse. Do you have that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're wasting your time, and that's the grievance kind of quality about it. You're much more likely to influence people if you think creatively about, what's a better option. So until you get hold of the personal grievance that your mom was talking about, you won't get over this.
Well, my grievance is that I had an experience where I was happy in a hypomanic way, but I had a sadness, which was the losing of what I thought was my soulmate. And the escape, that bipolar was an escape in terms of a feeling of sadness. And it was experiential.
Now look, we got to stop because we're out of time, but I would take issue with that, Ben. I'm not saying you don't feel it. I'm sorry, I said we got to stop because we're out of time. But we should continue talking about it. Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? Hello?
Ben, are you there?